Hello everyone, welcome back to Naomi's Bookshelf and welcome to another year of TBR Clue. So TBR Clue is my way of picking prompts and picking books for those prompts each month, and that's how I read at least 9 books every month. If you are new to my channel and you've stumbled across this video, this is how I will explain the rules for the year. And if you are not new to this video series, I will be doing very similar rules or the same rules, but this is just an updated rules version in case you are wondering. So you can skip ahead to the next timestamp if you are familiar with my rules. So now we're gonna go over how the rules work in case anyone is wondering how I play my game. So to be fully transparent, I am filming the rules after I've filmed my reveal so I can show you fully how the rules work. In a normal game of Clue, you have rooms, you have weapons, and you have people. I have signed 2 cards at random without knowing to each room on the board, and from there I have to assign a prompt. Last year we used my Jane mug. This year it is William Shakespeare's turn. This is my lovely insults mug that I got from my cousin. It is very fun. So we will be using William Shakespeare's mug, and from that mug we will be pulling prompts. 1 prompt for each room. Now in order to reveal those cards and be able to look at them, I have to have read a book for that prompt. For example, pulling from here, I could pull any prompt and I could pull the prompt of this one, Ballroom. Now the Ballroom prompt is an interesting prompt, and I'm glad I pulled this one out completely at random. All the prompts in here are things like over 500 pages or a color wheel or something like that. It could be very interesting. Some of them are characters from the game, some of them are weapons from the game, and some of them are rooms from the game, like this one. And I can tweak them however I like. So if it's a character, I can go with the color that they represent. I can go with an occupation they represent. I can also go with the country that they come from according to the Wikipedia or character wiki page that they go from. I can go with many different options depending on how their lore goes. I can also go with, when it comes to a weapon, different things that they stand for. When it comes to a gun, I could go with a character that's been shot in a book, if I know that that's the method of murder, if I'm reading a mystery. I can also go with, like you will see very shortly, a corrosive lead pipe. I can go with different things like that. When it came to a ballroom in November, I decided to go with a dancing element because I knew that there would be dancing when it came to certain characters in a book, and I wanted to read that when I pulled out the ballroom. Different things like that. Or the kitchen, I can read a book that has a recipe in it, like a cozy mystery. Those are all things I can tweak when it comes to the rooms on the board. So the prompts are all interesting, and I have a mug full of different prompts. They're all different and they are all fun. So I pull 1 prompt per month, not per month, 1 prompt per room every month, and I see what I have to fill. There are a couple special rules for this. Rule number 1 that I have is a very stickler rule for me, is that I am not required to read the book that I say in my TBR video. And this might seem like a cop-out, but for me, I like to have the ability to mood read throughout the month. So say 1 month I pull the Miss Scarlet prompt and I say I'm going to read Anne of Avonlea, and I don't read Anne of Avonlea that month. That's okay as long as I fulfill the Miss Scarlet prompt in some other way. As long as it's fulfilled, I can still reveal those 2 cards. The next rule is, however, that I never ever double up on these prompts. I have to read 9 books a month at least to reveal all of the prompts on the board. Now this means that if I read 9 books and I do not fulfill all 9 rooms, I still do not get to reveal all of the cards. And this comes into a problem when it comes to revealing the case file. So at the very beginning of each TBR video, I put 3 cards in here. 1 is the person, 1 is the weapon, and 1 is the room. And if I put the 3 cards in here and I do not guess correctly, I have a punishment book. A punishment book is one of the books I've had on my TBR for a very long time. At this point, there'll be books that have been on there for 4 years or more. I don't have a TBR jar for this anymore, as I do have a TBR jar, but I don't know where it is. The real thing is, though, is that I have a TBR list of those, and I have to read at least 1 of those books in that month, no matter what, and it does not fit one of those prompts. It is an extra bonus book that I'm required to read because I did not guess correctly what was in the case file. That is another bonus that I have to do if I do not guess correctly. So I need to read at least 9 books that fit those 9 rooms every month. And that's okay. And you might think that's a little nuts, but I tend to read about 15 books a month. So if I read at least the first 9 that fit those prompts, I'm okay and I should be golden. That's at least my aim. And the only month I was in trouble in was October, and I managed to make it work. A new addition to this TBR game is that I will be pulling out 2 authors from this jar, and I have to try at least 1 work by each author in that month. They have to be at least tried. They don't have to fit on the TBR, but they are being added into my regular reading every month. And this means that there are like something like 50 authors in here, 40 something. And I have a whole video about it if you want to go check that out, how I picked these authors and what the books are that I have from these authors. So I have to at least try these 2 authors I pull every month. And this is something that I think is really important. And if I don't like these authors, it's fine. I can DNF, I can get rid of these books, but I need to try them. So that's something new that I didn't do last year, and it's gonna be fun. My new rule also is that I'm gonna be adding at least 1 nonfiction onto my TBR. Even if it's not in the game, it's gonna be at least added into my books that I want to read every month. And I think this is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna try to fit it into my TBR clue game so I don't have as much stress on myself. Even though TBRs are not so much stress, there are a lot of possibility piles for me. And I tend to read a lot of the books that I have put on my TBR, but at the same time, I don't mind changing things up throughout the month. So I think that's all you need to know about how I play the TBR game. The other thing is that I will not be revealing what's in the TBR case file for you because I would then know when editing. So you have to come around to next month's TBR game and find out what's in the case file as well. And now we're gonna move on to the gameplay for my first TBR of January. In the hall, I had to read a thriller and I read The Mousetrap by Agatha Christie. In the lounge, I got The Dining Room and I chose Cards on the Table by Agatha Christie as they are using a table. In the dining room, I got The Lead Pipe and I chose Hercule Poirot's Christmas by Agatha Christie as the lead pipe is very toxic and corrosive. In the kitchen, I got The Billiards Room and I chose The Sittaford Mystery as there is a game involved. In the ballroom, I got The Wrench, and for that, I chose A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens as Scrooge's emotions are wrenched throughout the storyline. In the conservatory, I got The Revolver, and I chose Aggie Morton by Martha Jocelyn, and this one is because Aggie Morton, or Agatha Christie, was born in the Victorian era like The Revolver was invented. In the billiards room, I got Miss Scarlet, and I chose The Christmas Bargain by Shanna Hatfield as the heroine is a single lady with burgundy hair, which is reddish hair. In the library, I got A Second Chance Author, and I read Knit 1, Kill 2 by Maggie Sefton. In the study, I got Dr. Orchid, and I put On His Bended Knee by Sinead Johnson. This one is because one of the characters is a veterinarian, and they are doctors. So my official guess is Colonel Mustard in the hall with the rope. And as I revealed every card, it should be simple. So there is the hall, there is the rope, and there is Colonel Mustard. So no punishment heading into the new year. So before we set up the board, we need to pull out 2 names of this. I talked about it in my TBR rules, and I also talked about it in the video where I make this TBR jar. I will link that for you if you are interested. And now I'm pulling out 2 names of which I need to try both of these authors' works in January. Okay, let's see who's my first 2 of the year. This will be interesting. I'm kind of terrified, but at the same time, it's gonna be fun. Josephine Tey. That's exciting. I'm actually really excited by that. And I will pull out her only book that I have by her as soon as I grab the second one. And that is I'm Not Happy. Margaret Atwood. Okay. I did this to myself. I'm reminding myself of that. I did this to myself. I'm gonna grab the books. I don't want to read Margaret Atwood. Okay. So I have Daughter of Time by Josephine Tey. And I have Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. At least I have this one on audio. But the thing is that I'll talk about it later, but I was planning on doing a Vanity Fair read-along and not Wuthering Heights, but Vanity Fair and Gone with the Wind read-along. This is interrupting my plans. I had planned a different timeless tome that's different from Vanity Fair for January. Anyways, welcome to my timeless tome. This will be my timeless tome for January. Yay. Stupid jar. I do this to myself. Anyways, we're gonna now set the board for the next month and hope I can fit these in to the prompts. First prompt. Dining room. So in the hall, we got dining room, which means I can interpret that any way I like. And for this one, I'm gonna go with a book that is featuring around a table, and that would be the Tuesday Night Club Murders, or the Tuesday Club Murders. This is a short story collection of Agatha Christie's where these books or these stories take place around a dinner party that meets every Tuesday night to talk about one murder or one story. And Miss Marple is the featured heroine, essentially, of these short stories where she manages to solve all of these riddles, essentially, that's being put forth to the group. So each of these stories take place at a dinner party, essentially. So I'm excited to read this. I've been itching to read some Agatha Christie short stories, and I would like to put this on my TBR and get to it. And as you can see, a table, a dining room table, or whatever you'd like to call it, is on the cover. So I'm going to count that for the dining room. Let's get something from the bottom. Book box. For the lounge, we got a book box, or a book that came from a book box subscription or something like that. And I'm going to go with one of these little Penguin modern classics. And this is Madame du Deffand and the Idiots. And this is a collection by Javier Marias. And this is like, it says 5 sparkling, irreverent, brief portraits of famous literary figures. So I'm excited to pick this up. I have a few of these. They are right here, and I have not read many. So I'm excited to get to this one, and it's very short. I'm not sure if I will read this one for sure, but at the very least, this one is high on my list. Middle grade. The next one we got was middle grade, and I'm to go with my current middle grade series that I'm reading. Well, one of them, so it could be this one. Most likely it will be in this series, if not this book, which will be, I'm not gonna just drag around, The Scarecrow of Oz. So if I don't read this one, it'll be the next one in the series. I'm not sure what that title is, but I am up to The Scarecrow of Oz, so this is the last book in this bind up of 3, and I have the complete series to get through this year, which I'm going to finish off this year. This is the 3rd volume of 5 that I own, and I need to finish them off. So I will be reading The Scarecrow of Oz or the next one in the series if I finish this one before the year is out. All right, this one. Short read. Next, I got short read. That's upside down, sorry. Short read. And for that one, I am going with another Agatha Christie. And this is the one that I am reading for my online book club, which is The Big Four. At least I believe this is the one that we're reading next. This one is a Hercule Poirot novel, and it sounds really fun. I thought that this is the one my friend Kevi, I'll link her channel down below, but I thought Kevi hated this one. Actually, it's one of her favorites. So I am excited to get to this one now, even more so. The back is just talking about 4 very criminal masterminds, and I am excited to get to it. It's very short. It's under 200 pages, and it's mass market paperback size. So I'm very excited to get to this one by Agatha Christie. Guess this one volunteers. Pre-1800s. Next, I have pre-1800s, and for that one, I'm going to go with a nonfiction about that time era, because I could, and I would try normally for a book that was published before that time period, but I'm going to go with a nonfiction about that time period. So I'm going to go with King Henry VIII. These ones I am excited to read about. I think it'll be interesting to either read this one, which is by Derek Wilson. This one is called A Brief History of Henry VIII, Reformer and Tyrant, or I have The 6 Wives of Henry VIII by Alison Weir on audio. So I'll be reading one of those 2 hopefully this month, as I do have to read I set a goal for myself to read at least 1 nonfiction a month, and that is something I'm really wanting to do. So I'm planning on reading at least one of these in January. Revolver. Next up in the Conservatory, we got The Revolver. And for that one, I'm going with a book where I know someone gets shot. And that is The Nemesis by Jo Nesbo. I am doing a buddy read of this with Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures and Nikki from Red Dot Reads. I will link their channels down below. This is book 3 in the Harry Hole series. And so we read book 2. Was it book 2? Yes, it was book 2. Sorry. Anyways, in November. And it's going to be exciting to get into book 3. This one, it says a man is caught on CCTV shooting dead a cashier at a bank. And that's all I need to know for this prompt to fit it in. So this one is the next one. I'm really excited to buddy read this one. I have been really enjoying the Harry Hole series. And I am excited to buddy read it again. I'll buddy read with these two lovely ladies again, and I'm excited to dive into the world of Harry Hole. Illustrations. In the Billiards Room, we got a book with illustrations, and for that one, I'm going to go with one that will also work for Buzzwordathon, and that one is Puzzles, or Whodunit Puzzles, and this is by Jim Suzak. These are really short, and they obviously have illustrations. I do have other Buzzwordathon picks that I would like to read. Those are nonfiction, and they don't have any fitting in for any of my prompts. So I'm putting this one in as it says who in the title, and that's one of the words for this month's Buzzwordathon. And I'm excited to at least get one book in that will fit something. And I have been working my way through some of these books already, which is fun to do. They're pretty short, and I like to test my brain out a little bit. Kitchen. Next, we got the kitchen, which is a little bit of a fun prompt because I decided to go with this in regards to a book that's about a cafe, and this is called Much Ado About a Latte, and this is by Kathleen Fuller. This is an arc that I have. It comes out, I believe, in January, or maybe February. It comes out January 4th, so I need to really get on that book. This one is about 2 cafe owners, I believe. I don't remember too much else about this one, but I'm excited to get to it. It sounds really cute, and it's really fast-paced, I believe, and it's a romance. And this is a book that's about 2 people who cook, so I figured that will be great for the kitchen prompt. Mr. Green. The last room we have is the study, and that one we got Mr. Green, which I could do the color green. I could do many things. And for that one, I looked up about Mr. Green's profession. I always do this when I get a character. Mr. Green used to be considered a Reverend Green, in case you didn't know. And also, one thing about Mr. Green that you might not know as well is that he would be considered to be an older man. He would consider to have like that white collar, and he would go around and turn a blind eye whenever it came to murder. That seemed to be the stereotype for Mr. Green. And I was thinking about this, and I thought, you know what? I have a book that's perfect on my shelves, except for the turning a blind eye when it comes to murder. And that would be Father Brown. This is by G.K. Chesterton, and I thought, who else fits that description except for Father Brown? He kind of fits that description of a vicar or of a father priest-like type, except for the fact that he solves murders as opposed to, you know, the one that we have talked about with Mr. Green. So I'm going to put this in that slot. It feels like it's kind of perfect, and I would like to try Father Brown. Now, this seems like Father Brown's stories are a little bit on the small side. I don't know if this is the way it's supposed to be, but it looks like, according to this, they're all like short stories. So I'm going to be reading the first section, which is called The Innocence of Father Brown. I also own on audio The Wisdom of Father Brown. So if I listen to that one instead, which is this section here, I'm going to listen to or read at least one complete section. So that will be something I definitely will be doing. I'm not going to be reading this whole book, though, because this is a bind up of 3, at least, sections of stories. So Father Brown is fitting in for Mr. Green prompt. So as you can tell, we did not fit in The Daughter of Time by Josephine Tey. I am okay with that, though. It is pretty short, and I tend to read a lot more than my normal 9 books per month, but this is gonna be really fast and really fun, and I'm really excited to try this one out. I've heard really great things. And I really wish I'd fit in Italy's Grace. However, this one fits for Chantel from Chantel Reads All Day. I believe that's her new channel name. That's also one of my goals for this year, is to do her challenge every month. And her prompt this month is to read a book that has a quiet word in the title. And I'm going to say that Grace is so often attributed to people who are quiet, or people who are graceful can be considered quiet, at least in olden day terms. I'm gonna go with that. So Italy's Grace will fit for that prompt if I do finish this book. Because I have a whole video explaining my rules for doing these kind of books. So I am not happy about this book, as you saw earlier. I'm also not happy I didn't fit this in. However, I will be giving it a good shot. I have an audiobook of this, and I'm going to try my best. This is Margaret Atwood's Last Chance with me. Last Chance. So I have these two that I need to read. And then, I can't remember now if I mentioned it, but I do also want to read Vanity Fair. I'm reading this with a group of people for a read-along hosted by Tori from Hufflepuff Discovery. So this big beast is read over 2 months, and so I'm going to be reading the first half of it in January. This is a really great book. I read it for my very first Timeless Tomes episodes. I'll be reading this for Timeless Tomes. Also, I know I mentioned this one as a Timeless Tome, and that one was published in 1996. So I don't think that one qualifies unless you guys think it qualifies. Do you think it counts as a modern classic when it's not even 30 years old? You let me know. But anyways, I might be doing an episode of this one when I'm finished it in February. And yeah, this will be updated my thoughts on Vanity Fair. I'm very excited to reread this one and know all of the details again. So yes, I'll be reading the first half of this one. So that is, I think, all of the books I have to read. I can't think of anything else that I have buddy read plans for, which is okay. I'm happy with what I have there. I have my buzzword, I have my nonfiction, I have my Chantel's book. And I think that's good for me. I'm pretty happy with all of my plans. And of course, these are all subject to change as well, depending on my mood. And I'm okay with all of these things. I'm pretty happy with what I have read. Some of these things look pretty chunky, but this is only one. This is one, a bunch of short stories. And I'm happy with the short stories, actually. I'm not a big short stories reader, but I'm happy with them. So please let me know down below in the comments what you're reading for January. Are you starting your year off? Are you doing the challenges with me? Or are you just reading whatever you want to read? I'd love to chat down below in the comments. So please like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you are new here, and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye for now.